We are on time.
Hey, everybody. It's Mark Masters, Always Bookin Comedy. We got Dale Dymkoski here from Los Angeles. We've worked the road together, done a bunch of shows over the years. He's out in LA. I'm excited to talk to him. I can't wait to hear about the Fringe Fest and and just catch up, see what's new. But I also want to ask you about chocolate sundaes because my date is coming up this month.
Cool.
Yeah, let's talk about Fringe Festival. So you did the
Yes.
LA version, right?
We did the LA Hollywood Fringe Festival. Denver has one, as I found out during
They
the
do,
season.
yeah.
Yeah. Because they participated in what different fringe festivals from around the world do is they come to different festivals and they pick one to kind of sponsor in their festival.
Oh,
So
cool.
somebody won the Denver Fringe Award. So somebody
Neat.
from LA will be at the Denver Fringe. I think it's in September. I'm not sure.
How big is it? So I don't know a lot about the Fringe Festival. I mean, obviously the one in Edinburgh is like huge and famous and was in that Netflix show. And, I've heard of that one. Is LA pretty big? Has it been around for a while?
It's, I think 15 years now. And it's the next largest one outside of Edinburgh, from what I heard.
Okay.
So there's like over 400 shows were on performing during the month of June.
And does it go all month?
Yeah, it starts. They have a preview week, and then they have 3 weeks of shows. So basically,
So you had a show there? Did you run it for a month, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I just did it. I did 4 shows, so I did one a week essentially. I did the preview week and then one a week, and it worked out perfect. Like anymore, it's like that thing is you're the show producer. It's like I booked the venue.
Did you use the same venue all 4 times?
Yeah.
Did they have like light stage sound, or did you have to?
They had like there's a whole community already set up, the whole infrastructure already in place, and they basically steer you toward a dozen or 15 or so theaters that are like in the tribe, basically, all in this sort of concentrated area in Hollywood. And then, but you could, if you wanted to use your own, you found a place that is better and that you could use and fill, you're allowed to do that. It's just, so it's kind of like anything goes. But yeah, that was a great
This is the first year you've done it?
Yeah.
So how do you get in the first place? Do you apply?
So here's the thing about Fringe. Anybody could put a show up at Fringe. There's no comedy festival, Joe Lauer's guys up there like judging who gets in, who doesn't. And that's the beauty of Fringe. And from just sort of from a political perspective, from an arts perspective, it's like sort of the ultimate expression of free speech for artists, because anybody can do it. Like there's nobody on the board that if they don't like what you're saying, they can't tell you can't say it. Although there is something in place, an infrastructure in place, if somebody is like abusive or hateful and all this other stuff that can be dealt with. But yeah, so what happened was I just a year ago decided I was going to shoot my special in 2025. It was like I gave myself a date. I found a date in March where I shot my special in Connecticut. The year previous, I had looked into Fringe on the advice of my therapist, of all people. And then I was like, But I signed up for the emails and stuff. And then February came around and I got the emails from Fringe. And I was just, I've been preparing. I've got a show. I live in Hollywood. I've got a show. I live in Hollywood. It didn't make any, I was like, okay, $300 to sign up to. And it just made no sense not to. If I didn't do it, I was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you have a show and you're in Hollywood. Do it.
So let me ask a couple logistical things. The $300, is that like an application fee, or does that cover the venue?
Entry fee. All
right. And then how long is every show the same length, and what length is it? Okay.
It could be anything you want. There's like 30-minute shows. There's 90-minute shows. The ideal, I found, most shows are 60 minutes and slightly under. Mine ran about 50 minutes, which was kind of perfect.
Okay.
How
long did you have the theater for?
For each individual performance?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 minutes in, 15 minutes out. So I had an hour and a half.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And it was pretty easy. They had a tech guy that was part of the theater that, and I gave him my music and
what kind like what was this, like a movie theater? Was it like a indie
A,
black box theater?
a black box theater.
Okay.
It was actually pretty cool. It was a good, perfect space for stand up because it had like a raised stage and it had seating that went up
Yeah,
in the back.
stadium
Now,
style.
yeah, yeah. So it worked out great.
How did you get butts and seats? And how did that go?
Yeah. So that's the other thing, you know. Tell you what, LA people do not want to go to shows. So 4 shows, I averaged about 27 a show. So 25 to 30 each show is what I
That's
got.
pretty
And
good, honestly.
yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. You know,
What was it, a
and then,
desirable time and day a week, or?
yeah, so they give you different times, you know, and most of them were reasonable. I had one like 6:15 p.m. show on a Friday, which is a tough one for people because of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a 1:30 in the afternoon show on Sunday, which actually can't turn out to be a good show because people, took the opportunity to go to a matinee show,
Yeah,
And then I had a 10:30 p.m. show and a 9:30 p.m. show, so it was all pretty reasonable.
all over the place. How much were
Yeah,
tickets? Or is it free?
$20,
Okay.
$20 for just general admission, and then inside the Fringe Festival, there's like a discount, and then what we all do is
Trade.
barter, trade tickets, and you come to mine, I'll come to yours, that kind of thing.
Where does the $20 go? Does it go right to you, or does it go to Fringe and then you get a percentage of that, or how does that work?
So they have a website set up where all the ticketing goes through, and it shows you, how many tickets you sold, what your total gross, current gross is, and that kind of thing. So I have a check that's coming to me at some point next week or so.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
That will cut into the amount of money I laid out,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've heard that about. I mean, at least you didn't have to travel, because people would go to Scotland and they'd lose money there, and on top of that, they're paying for a hotel and
it's a lot of money. Yeah. No, it wasn't bad at all in terms of, and I highly recommend it you talked about like getting people out to shows, basically what you have to do is hustle. You've got to do the thing that everybody says that you have to do to comedians. You got to shake every tree and tell people to come to your shows. Only it was different when it's your own show, when it's your own hour, getting people to come out. And Fringe has a sort of a website set up where there's like, they give you a roadmap. So one of the first things they tell you is, what's the title of your show? You got to title your show.
Mm-hmm.
What's the pitch of your show? You got to pitch your show. And so then there's like this quick pitch.
So let's say I walked up to you in the street. What's your pitch? Hey, I'm looking for something. Do you know any good Fringe shows?
Yeah. So my show is Feminist Ass Man. It's a comedy and variety show about defying labels. It's a Gen Xer struggle with identity labels. Sort of an antidote to bro culture and the current conversation around masculinity. But it's all jokes. It's fun. We have a lot of fun,
Are you in it?
It's my show. I wrote it and I'm performing in it. It's a solo show.
Wow. Incredible. We got a comment all the way from North Carolina here. Love the promo poster in the background. Yeah, I've been admiring that as well. Nice. Wow. This is incredible. So, and honestly, like, I work with a lot of LA comics, and to be able to do an hour is like gold. I mean,
that's the thing. Mark,
after doing 4 of them, you felt great.
Oh my God. It was the best thing I could have ever done. In fact, I shot my special in March. Basically what I did in retrospect is I shot my dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because the show just grew from there. And every week going to, like, they set up these like, meet and greets with other fringers where you have these opportunities to pitch your show to people and talk about what you're doing, what you're working on. It's a very supportive and creative environment because it's not, so when you go to an open mic or you go to a comedy thing, it's just comedians, we're all on the same page, we're all fighting for stage time, and it's 5 minutes, 8 minutes, we're just, so I just find the stand-up comedy community just a little bit more standoffish, just by design, by the way that we're wired. You know, we just sort of keep to ourselves and do our thing. We talk a little bit, but it's a little bit more isolated. Whereas the Fringe community, because you're not really competing, every show is so wildly different. Everybody's art is so different, and I would say stand-up comics inside the Fringe community, maybe about 10%. It's not. It's mostly like actors and solo performers. They're not stand-up comics, most of them.
Okay.
So it just makes for a little bit of a different alchemy of people, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about a good barter story with another artist. Did you go see an act that then came and saw you, or vice versa?
Yeah, I saw shows. I saw a bunch of shows, and I actually went to see one show, and she didn't come to see my show, so she's automatically unfollowed. Yeah.
So lesson number one: make them come to your show first,
or just the thing of it is that's probably going to happen to you at some point, because there's so many shows and so many people that you wind up saying yes, let's do that, and then you realize you go home and look at your calendar. I cannot do all this, right? There's 400
How many shows
shows.
do you think you saw over the course of the month?
I probably saw about 20 to 25,
wow,
maybe.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but it got to be fun, because you go with a group to a show, and you see this show, and that person and that group of people comes to see your show, and it just became a sort of a fun little gathering of people.
Yeah. So were there other stand-up comedians that you previously knew and then ran into?
Yes. Yeah, there were. There's one group of women that were over 40. They're basically the pitch of their show is basically it's third act comedy, right? So it's women in their third act of life doing stand-up comedy. So they would do a show and have like 5 or 6 women on a show. They'd have the host and then 5 other comics for their hour, you know. Right. And so, you know, and I've seen them around. I know them, a lot of them, just from the community. And then there was another young woman who she did her hour, and we had met at a previous open mic. We went to each other's shows, and I was very impressed with her show, and she mine. You know, it was nice. It was cool to bump into people.
That's awesome. And so, what are your top? Are you going to do it again next year, do you think?
So I don't know. I don't have plans to do it right now. So here's to sort of answer your question from earlier about how I felt at the end of 4 shows doing an hour 4 times. The show just grew, and that's what you realize. It's like, oh, that's what people are doing on the road, is they're doing their hour, and then the night before they say, oh, this is, I could make this one better if I add this. So each show I added jokes. And then I realized I got this joke from the past I haven't been using. It would be perfect for this, what I've set up as my theme of this show. And I put that in there, and it became a better show by the end of the run than what I shot in March. But that's what happens. Like, so to piggyback this story is that Comedy Dynamics has made an offer on my special.
Wow, Dale.
In March. Yeah. So that's exciting. The thing was that I was like, my show now is so much better. I wish my show now could be the special.
Yeah.
And then you have to ask yourself, well, do I, pause? Do I say, hey, hold on, don't distribute what I have now. Give me another 6 months so I go and shoot a better special. Like, I don't think that makes any sense in the current climate. So I think you just basically get in the door, try to get eyeballs on your stuff, book more road gigs, shoot the stuff that I didn't shoot the first time. And this is a long way of answering your question of like, will I do it again next year? I don't know if I have an hour in me for next year. But,
because you have to do a new hour.
I mean, I would, yeah. I mean, I guess you don't have to. I think people do fringes, but I don't want to do the same show in a year from now.
Okay.
Just,
it should take a few years to get a fresh hour.
So, I mean, Louis C.K. always said that he tried to do an hour a year,
he's an exception. Yeah, most people say about 3 years to get a decent.
3 years.
And
Okay.
those are like really accomplished comedians who are like 15,
Yeah.
20 years in. I'm kind of personally, I'm terrified of making that leap at some point in the future where I record an hour because I'm constantly like throwing away stuff. And then my best hour is like, some of it's changing, but some of it is like 6-year-old material. And
Yeah.
then, so it's going to take 10 years to make that first really good hour. And then I'm scared. Like, I don't want to wait another 10 years.
Well, that's literally where I'm at, but it won't be 10 years. It'll be a few
You
years
should be
because
quicker. Yeah, I
yeah,
guess.
you're 10 years. The first 5 of those were just like accumulating
Right.
material and trying to make jokes work,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that will
So
happen a lot faster than the second
one
time
last quick
around.
question about Fringe, and I want to ask about your special. Did you tape your shows?
Yeah, I did. The last one is the best. So I had audio issues on 2 of my shows that
Okay.
my lav mic cutting out.
Mm,
So that's kind of a bummer.
yeah.
But I got a really good video of my last show. The only downside is that I felt like the audiences and the 2 shows that the mic cut out
Of course.
were better,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
of course.
Yeah.
But I think
Okay,
it'll
so
be
now
good.
let's
It'll
talk
be
about
good
this
for
this
yeah.
special thing. Like, why do you decide to shoot a special? It sounds outrageously expensive. Like, did you get
Yeah.
a camera crew? Like, how did you find people to tape it? It looked
So
gorgeous. I saw a trailer for it. Looks
so Taylor,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah. No, I just decided it was time. So a year ago, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I doing? Right. In LA, doing comedy, getting 5-minute spots, fighting for like 5 and 7 and 8 minute
Yeah.
spots. Like it's crazy. And I was like, well, I should just at least just document my material. So, people from Connecticut are like, oh, you were here and you didn't let me know. And so I just figured where I'm from, I'll just pick a date, pick a place, shoot it, and that'll be like 10 years in. I'm about 10 years in. So it's time to put it down on video and see if in worst case scenario, I'll just do a YouTube release. That was my thought.
Mhm.
And then at that time, I had I would say I had 30 to 35 minutes of material that I knew was solid that I I knew I could get 3 to 4 laughs a minute. Like just you could do 35 solid minutes. I had to have total confidence in. And then the next so the special is around 40 to 45 minutes. So I just played with my other material and then I just tried to figure out through line because every special that you watch, not everyone, some guys are just jokes, but it's like in general, there's some sort of theme emerges. So I tried to look for a theme that was emerging, and it was like it had to do with my labels, that seemed to be material that always did well no matter where I was. It seemed to be universal, and it seemed to be sort of current, like kind of what people are talking about out there and in the sort of social political realm. And then so that kept popping up, and then I just sort of, and then I worked around, my personal stuff, and I told a little story that has an ending, a beginning, middle, and an end with my jokes, and I just kept working on it through the year, knowing that I had that March 22nd date, and I was like, I'm just gonna just prepare for that. And Yoshi came and he emceed and opened for me. So gracious of him to do that. He didn't have to do that, and it's just such an awesome guy. And it came out great. Like you saw what it looks like. It certainly looks great.
How many cameras were there?
There are 5 cameras.
Wow.
Yeah. So then to ask about the expense, yeah, it cost money. I knew it was going to be an investment.
Was this the 5 cameras? They come from a company? Had they done
Yeah.
comedy specials before?
So I have a friend who's a musician in the area in Connecticut where I'm from, like my best friend. And I asked him if he knew of anybody that could handle this sort of thing. And he knew what I was going for. And he turned me on to this he had a personal connection to this company, but they did everything under one roof. It was like they shoot stuff, they edit, they do everything. So he just sort of felt like that was probably. And so I called them up and talked to them and interviewed them and got a quote and told them what I was looking for and they were really easy to work with. He told me to send him specials that
That
sort of
you
I wanted to look like. Yeah, like so I sent him not Netflix specials. I sent him like people that you and I know.
yeah.
Adam Mueller's special and somebody else. I can't think of his name right now, but I sent them like sort of at our level type specials, and I said I want to look. And this the theater that I picked. Do you know Alex Hooper?
Yeah. In LA.
So he shot his special in the same place, and that was unbeknownst to me at the time. So it's like
Okay.
his label chose that place. So unbeknownst to me, I picked a place that was already being used by Comedy Dynamics.
Got it.
It was kind of cool. Yeah, just decided just fucking do it. What else am I doing?
Yeah.
What else am I doing?
So how to go
And
selling tickets there? How did you market that?
so that was tough.
How big a theater was it?
So it's a 200-seat theater. So this is the of all the things that happened with this special, it went great. It went like everything worked. The only downside is that there's a lot of material that I didn't use because I wanted to make sure that no jokes bombed. At first my thought was I was going to shoot 2 shows, and then there was just no sales on the second show. It's like nobody's coming to the second show. So I sold about 70 tickets, and it was a 200-seat theater, so it's a little quiet.
Yeah.
It's a little quiet. That's the only downside. So
How did they seat them? Did they do a good job of getting all 70?
Yeah. So it looks good on camera, but still, it's just a little quiet. And that's the other thing too. And I don't know if you have the same experience, but I would prefer to perform for people I don't know rather than people that know me.
Yeah.
Because people that don't know me, they don't care. Make me laugh, and they're not invested. If you make them laugh, they're invested. And I find that easier than people that have known me my whole life and they're like skeptical. They're not sure. They're worried. They're like, they don't know. And there's a lot going on there, and you can almost hear it in the laugh. Like it's a little worried. It might not be funny.
Right.
So it looks great. It'll probably, I think what I'll get out of it is really good clips. As a special, it's not bad. I just think it could be better. And I kind of wish that the special was what I shot on my last show at Fringe.
Right.
Just in terms of
I think
performance,
that happens there.
confidence.
I mean, I've heard the most famous comedians in the world say that same thing.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those things where I just kind of let go of it and just kind of get in the system and get clips going. And, because what it boils down to this day and age is getting on a platform that get eyeballs. And then hopefully help your platform get more followers. And you can book more and raise up.
What would you do differently? Like 10 years from now or 5 years from now when you shoot your second hour, what are a couple things you might change?
Just having more chances to do the hour before shooting the hour.
Yeah,
I didn't know when I booked it that I was going to do Fringe. I didn't know that was going to be part of the whole thing. The Fringe was sort of an afterthought. And unbeknownst to me, it's just how crazy life works. It's like you think that it's not part of what you're doing, but really that was what I was doing was Fringe. Because my work is so much better now from doing Fringe that had nothing to do with the special. But I wouldn't have done Fringe if I hadn't prepared for the special.
Right. Yeah. So 5 years from now, you might do a Fringe in June and then tape in July. Somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if I could do it over again, that's what I would have done. I would have done Fringe first, and then shot it after that.
Yeah. Would you do a similar size theater? Would you do a smaller, quirky place, or?
I would do a similar theater if I could fill it. If I could get 130 in there, which I think I can. Like if everybody came that said they were coming, I would have had 130. It's just that you know how it is. People say they're coming, they don't come. Yeah. So I had a lot of that. But yeah, I love the space that Bijou Theater in Bridgeport, Connecticut. By the way, if you ever get a chance to go there, do it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, cool.
It's just that you got to have. It's 200 seats, so 70 is just a little bit quiet.
Yeah. So for people watching this is June or listening, it's June 2025. Do you have a roadmap of when the Feminist Ass Man will be public?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I just literally talked to Comedy Dynamics last week, so I got to get back to them. I have to talk to my lawyer and iron out details and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I would say within the next few months.
Okay. So sometime if it's 2026 or later, it's probably out, folks. Give it a
Yeah.
watch and a listen,
Yeah.
etc. Yeah. What else is going on?
That's it. That's just been my life for the past few months. Was preparing for the special, shooting it, which went well. But again, I had a lot of like nerves around it just because it was, again, people that I know. And I know it was good. I just wanted it to be great. And the shows at Fringe were great.
Yeah.
And I could feel a little bit of a difference just in terms of the growth that happened, and then it's just natural,
What were you doing between shows? So you had a week between each show during Fringe. Would you watch your tape or just listen to it? Would you edit
Yeah, no,
things?
I would watch the tape once, not a lot. But like I said, I've been working on this show pretty much for a year, so it's in me. I didn't need to do so, but I would still rehearse. I would still each day run it once, not every day, almost every day, just to make sure that it's there. The last thing I would want to happen is to forget my jokes.
Right. Was anybody surprisingly successful at Fringe? Like what's a success at Fringe? Is it like you
So
sell
they have
out?
awards. They have awards.
Okay.
And there was like an award show a week ago, Monday. And yeah, this woman did an adaptation of a Bertolt Brecht play,
Okay.
and she just won all the awards. She won 4 awards, and she got like a residency at Soho Playhouse in New York.
Huh.
And I was just really impressed with her acting and the fact that she and a co-writer co-wrote this. They adapted from an old play.
Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did.
And
So
how does that happen? Like how did you hear about it to go see that one?
so again, this is the Fringe ecosystem, and I know we're running low on time here, so I want to just mention you. And I've been trying to tell my comedian friends is that if you have in your head that you want to do your hour at some point, like do Fringe, do your Fringe festival, because it just preps you for it. And there's a whole infrastructure there where you meet other artists that are doing the same thing. And then
Yeah.
you get a built-in audience because your friends will see your stuff. And if you go see people's shows, they'll come to see your show. So you have people, and then you get a month to sort of test your show. And I just found it so helpful the way that they set up, having a title, having a pitch, and having a pitch and knowing all that stuff helped my jokes. I started going back to my jokes, making sure that it all related back to the title so it just made
Right.
it more. It just made it work better. Yeah.
Huh. That's cool. I'll look into the Denver one. That's an interesting idea. I mean, I have people all the time who
it's a
see
great
me in the
place to.
mountains and I host, for 10 minutes and they're like,
Yeah.
you were great. How do I see you more? And I live
Yeah.
in Golden or Boulder or Denver or whatever. And
I mean, you have such a big list, I'm sure by now, of people that you had come to your shows over the years, that if you put your hour up in Denver, I'm sure you get people to come.
yeah.
And it'll give you a place to find what your hour, the story you want to tell in an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Is it June everywhere throughout the world?
No, I think Denver's in September, but I'm not sure.
No, maybe there's still time to apply. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. All right. Anyways, how did you find that lady's show? So like there's 1,000 shows or whatever.
So every week at Fringe, there's a mixer. They call it office hours, where you go with your flyers and you talk to other people that are doing shows.
Okay.
And so I met her, and she pitched me her show. And her show is basically about a woman that is like an NRA spokesperson. And it's based on a Bertolt Brecht play where the woman is like a military weapons salesperson. So she's a modern day version of that. And I was just like, whoa, because it was basically about gun access that had the underlying message. And I was like, I grew up in Newtown, Connecticut. So she was just like, so we had a connection right away that, I have a history with gun violence.
Okay.
And so we saw each other's shows. We're each other's fans.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
The star of this year's LA Fringe Festival came to your show. That's
Oh
unbelievable.
yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
It's
No,
very
I
cool.
made a lot of great friends, and that's the other cool thing about this is that you will make real friends that will be your friends for a long time.
Yeah. Huh. That's very cool. Well, I'm so glad
Yeah.
we had this conversation. How
Yeah.
can people, we're going to wrap this up. Anything else you want to share? How people can find you, stuff like
Yeah,
that?
I'm on most of the socials at Dale D33. TikTok is 333 because they banned one of my accounts. But TikTok is my biggest account. YouTube, Instagram, Dale D33 is the best way to try to find me.
Okay.
And thanks
Awesome.
for listening.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next Monday. Dale, stick around. I want to chat with you afterwards. And
All right, cool.
thanks for tuning in, Mark in North Carolina. We'll see everybody next week.